Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today, TUHURA Biosciences Incorporated just filed an 8K, and we are seeing some important shareholder deadlines being communicated. Quick note, this is not financial advice, just my take on public filings for educational purposes. The main story here is about when shareholders need to submit their proposals and names for new directors for the upcoming annual meeting. So, TUHURA Biosciences Incorporated is filing a current report, basically in 8K form. This is used to announce major corporate events that shareholders should know about pretty quickly. The earliest event reported here happened on the 17th of June 2026. This is when the company officially communicated certain information. This filing is about TUHURA Biosciences Incorporated, a company operating in the healthcare and biotechnology sector. You might know them by their ticker symbol, HURA, on the Nasdaq Capital Market. Their common stock, which has a very small par value of 1,000th of a dollar, is what is traded on the exchange. The most important part of this filing falls under item 5.08, which deals with shareholder director nominations. This is where the company is laying out the rules and deadlines for how shareholders can get proposals or director candidates onto the company's official proxy materials for future meetings. The board of directors for TUHURA Biosciences has announced that their 2026 annual meeting of stockholders will be held virtually on the 18th of August 2026. This is a key date because it sets the timeline for everything else. They will provide more detailed information in a separate filing called a definitive proxy statement. Now, here is why this filing is happening now and why the deadlines are shifting. The date of the 2026 annual meeting has moved more than 30 days from the anniversary of their last meeting, which was held on the 23rd of June 2025. Because of this significant change, the company is officially informing shareholders about it, as required by CC rules. This shift means that the standard deadlines for shareholders to submit proposals under Rule 14 and -8, and to nominate directors using the company's proxy access rights, no longer apply in the usual way. They have to be recalculated based on the new meeting date. It also affects deadlines outlined in the company's own bylaws for submitting proposals that aren't covered by Rule 14 and -8, or for nominating directors outside of the proxy access system. Those dates also need to be reset. Essentially, the company is hitting the reset button on these timelines due to the meeting date change. So, what are the new deadlines? If you are a shareholder and you want to submit a proposal to be included in the company's official proxy materials for the 2026 annual meeting, and this proposal falls under Rule 14 and -8, it needs to be received by the company no later than the 27th of June 2026. This means you can't just send in anything. You have to follow all the specific rules in Rule 14 and -8, including what the proposal is about, and have it delivered to their main office along with all necessary paperwork by the 27th of June deadline. An important point here is that if they decide to postpone or adjourn the meeting later on, that won't reset this deadline for submitting proposals. So, the 27th of June 2026 is a pretty firm date for Rule 14 and -8 proposals. For those who need to send in proposals, the address is TUHURA Biosciences, Incorporated, 10,500 University Center Drive, Ive, Suite 110, Tampa, Florida, 33,612. Attention, Secretary. Now let's talk about nominating directors. TUHURA's bylaws give shareholders something called proxy access. This is a way for shareholders who meet certain ownership requirements to nominate their own candidates for the board and have those candidates included in the company's official proxy materials. To use this proxy access right to nominate directors, a notice of those nominations must be received by the company by the close of business on the 27th of June 2026. This date is set as the 10th day after the company officially announced the meeting date. Just like with proposals, there are specific requirements in the bylaws about what needs to be in this notice. This means if a proxy access nomination notice comes in after the 27th of June 2026, it won't be considered. Again, just like with shareholder proposals, any future postponement or adjournment of the meeting will not restart the clock for submitting these proxy access nominations. This next part covers proposals that are not submitted under Rule 14 and -8, as well as director nominations that are not using proxy access. Because the meeting is more than 25 days away from the anniversary of the last meeting, these types of proposals and nominations must also be received by the company no later than the 27th of June 2026. This is also set as the 10th day after the initial public disclosure of the meeting date. For shareholders who plan to solicit votes in favor of their own director nominees, meaning they are running a competing slate against the company's board, they have to notify the company's corporate secretary no later than the 27th of June 2026. This is to comply with what is called the Universal Proxy Rule. which aims to ensure all proxy materials are clear and consistent. And again, the company is reinforcing that any postponement or adjournment of the meeting will not create a new window for submitting these notices. Finally, all these notices and proposals need to follow all the rules in the company's bylaws, the Exchange Act, and any other relevant laws. This includes providing all the information required by the Universal Proxy Rule if you are nominating directors outside the company's slate. And at the end, we have the formal signatures. This confirms that TUHURA Biosciences Incorporated is filing this report. The report is signed and dated the 17th of June, 2026. The signature here is for Dan Dearborn. Dan Dearborn is identified as the Chief Financial Officer. This means he is authorized to sign off on this official filing on behalf of the company. Now, let's look at what this means. TUHURA Biosciences is setting the stage for its 2026 annual meeting, which is scheduled for the 18th of August. The key takeaway here is that if you are a shareholder and you want to have a say in the proposals that get voted on, or if you want to nominate a director, you have a hard deadline of the 27th of June, 2026. This date is critical for both submitting proposals for inclusion in the company's proxy statement and for nominating directors. Whether through proxy access or by running a separate slate of candidates, the company is making it clear that any delays or postponements of the meeting won't extend these deadlines. Looking at the broader context for TUHURA Biosciences, we see recent news about them filing an application with the FDA for a new antibody to test in specific leukemia mutation, and also them tapping into a revolving loan facility. They also recently received a notice of non-compliance, which could be a concern. The market cap is around $164 million, but the current stock price is not shown in the provided data, and the 52-week range is quite wide, from $0.41 to $3.9. Suggesting some volatility, institutional investors like BlackRock and Vanguard hold significant stakes, which can influence the company's direction. The core of this filing, however, is procedural, setting clear expectations for shareholder engagement ahead of the annual meeting. The risk I am watching is how these deadlines might impact the level of shareholder participation and activism. If few shareholders submit proposals or nominations, it might signal a lack of engagement or a comfortable status quo. Conversely, a surge of submissions could indicate growing shareholder dissatisfaction or a desire for change. The company's ability to manage these communications and processes smoothly will be key. Oh, and the research tools I actually use are linked in the description. They help keep this channel going. That is my take. Stay decoded. If you found this breakdown helpful, please like this video, subscribe for more, and join our Discord community linked in the description.